Elizabeth here with Country Peony, and I'm so excited that you're joining me here today. First off, I want to thank Miss Mustard Seeds Milk Paint for having me. So if you're new here, my name's Elizabeth with Country Peony, and Country Peony is a DIY and craft blog that focuses on simple and inexpensive projects to inspire anyone and everyone to create. And today we are making a really fun fabric pumpkin for your Thanksgiving tablescape. So you've seen these fabric pumpkins around, I'm sure. They're all over Pinterest, all over social media. And I thought it'd be really fun to make them because then you can customize them to whatever color palette you want for Thanksgiving. I'm a huge fan of customizing things to fit your design style. And so before we get started, I wanted to showcase the inspiration piece for this. So I am a fall girl, my birthday's on Halloween, but I'm not necessarily really into the traditional fall colors of the browns and the yellows. And so I scored this while thrifting, and I love this pattern so much. I particularly love the very muted and jewel toned colors that are in here. And so I pulled from these colors to create my own color palette for my own Thanksgiving table. And if you'll see in here, you've got the beautiful greens, which there's gorgeous green pumpkins, the gorgeous white pumpkins. And so a couple years ago on my blog, countrypeony.com, I actually created a tablescape that was inspired by these plates. And so you can see that on your on the website as well. But for today, I'm actually going to show you how to make these pumpkins. They are so simple and they're so fun. And then we're going to use Miss Mustard Seeds Milk Paint to make them yours. So today we are going to get started by making the pumpkins. First off, I like to use a canvas or a really thin cotton fabric for this. And if you've never painted on fabric, Miss Mustard Seeds Milk Paint is the perfect medium for that. I made some Valentine's Day pillows using milk paint and their fabric, and it's so much fun. So what I did here was I cut out a 16-inch by 8-inch rectangular piece of fabric, and then what we're going to do is we're going to use some fabric glue, my preferred method whenever I don't have time to sew. And so we're going to take the short ends and we're just going to glue them together. And normally you glue the side that does not have the print, the off side, but for this case, there is no bad side, so you don't have to worry about that. So all I did was I applied one long, thin line of glue, and then I just attached it to itself. So now you've got a fun little loop, okay? And so that just takes about 15 minutes or so to dry. Then once it's dry, you have this great, very sturdy loop for the base of your pumpkin. And so from here, you are going to take one of these long needles that you can find at your local craft store and some embroidery floss. So this project does require a little bit of sewing, but don't worry, it's very easy, beginner friendly. So I'm just creating a double knot at the end of this embroidery floss, and we're gonna make the pumpkin. So I've mentioned that I love painting on fabric for Miss Mustard Seeds Milk Paint. It goes on so beautifully, and it's such a fun way, again, to customize anything in your life. Okay, so this is the part that's glued. So we're just going to tie a very loose thread around the top. We're going to have about a 1-inch bias. So we're going to go about 1 inch down. And I'm just going to show you how simple it is to go through. And you can really use any fabric, and I did not tie my knot thick enough. At least a double knot, if not a triple knot on the end, so that the thread doesn't go through like mine did. And so once you have that tied, then you can start creating your pumpkin base. Okay, so let's try this again. So this is the part that is glued already. So we're just going to sew the top part very loosely. Again, as I said, about a 1-inch bias. And it's just a very loose stitch. So something that your kids can even help with, or your grandchildren. This is a really fun craft. So you're just going to keep sewing, and again, it's just a very loose stitch, just something to make sure that it can hold. Okay, so from there, we're going to I've already made one for you here. It's kind of hard to see because I know that the thread matches the fabric. And now that we have that, we're just going to loosely or gently pull it so that it binds together, okay? So we've got a nice little ruffle here, and then we're going to do another knot so that it becomes nice and secure. And then you're gonna take your scissors and you're just gonna trim off that embroidery floss. And if you miss any of these steps today, don't worry, because there will be a full step-by-step tutorial on Miss Mustard Seeds Milk Paint blog. Okay, so from here you've got this end tied, so now you're just gonna fold it out. So now you've got a cute little pouch and the base of your pumpkin, okay? And so from here you're going to stuff the pumpkin to give it that fun, round, plump shape. And for that, we're just gonna use some simple fill, polyfill. You can get this anywhere. You can use this, or if you have a bunch of scraps laying around, I think that's always fun too, to use what you have on hand to work on projects. Okay, so you're just going to stuff this as full or as little as you want. This one is pretty stuffed. As you can see, it's pretty plump, but it's really up to you. Okay, so I'm just gonna do a couple more, and then I'm gonna show you how to close off this pumpkin. So you've got your embroidery floss, which you're gonna use again, and your long needle right here, okay? And so again, we're gonna make sure that we have a double knot this time so it doesn't go all the way through. And this is such a fun project because I love customizing, and it's an unexpected twist when you have guests over for Thanksgiving. And then you can bust out the china that doesn't necessarily have fall colors on it. As long as you've got your pumpkins and you've got another hint for fall, that's all you really need. Okay, so from here you've got your nice little pouch, and we're just gonna take the ends of this side together. And we're gonna do the exact same thing to this side, have about a 1-inch bias, and we're just gonna loosely attach the top. And you're gonna go all the way across like you did before on the bottom. And then when you're done, you're just gonna pull the string to create a nice little loop. Some nice ruching, which is what we have on this one. So this is where I sew the bottom, I flipped it over, I add the filling, and then for the top, we just tied or sewed that on, and then pulled it together, and you've got this cute little ball. Okay, so this is where the ball turns into the pumpkin. So you're gonna take your embroidery floss once more, and you're going to tie it once more in a double knot, if not triple knot, so that it doesn't go loose. Okay. And then from here, this is very simple, and really this project, don't overthink it. I like for all of my projects to be fun and very simple and inspire you just to create. So I like to start at the bottom. We're gonna take it and we're just gonna go all the way through. You find a spot there, and it doesn't have to be perfectly in the middle, but just somewhere in the middle. And then we're gonna come all the way through to the bottom, okay? And this fabric is actually really thin, and so it's easy for the floss and the needle to go through. And so now we're gonna create 4 different divots that you would see on your pumpkin. So you're gonna come around and do the same thing. We're just bringing it back around through the top and then all the way through to the bottom. So that's your first divot. And then once you do your divot, you're gonna kind of play with it a little bit, pull it a little bit taut to kind of give it some fun movement and make it look a little bit realistic. And then you're gonna do the exact same thing. You're gonna push it all the way through, and then you've got another divot is what I'm calling it, the pumpkin grooves. And you're gonna pull it all the way through. I lost my thread. But you're gonna pull it all the way through, and you can kind of see the pumpkin starting to take shape. And you can mess with this. You can do 4 like I did, or you can do more to give it more divots. When I was looking at the pumpkins, no pumpkin is exactly the same. So this gives you creative liberty to do whatever you want, okay? And so I stuck with 4 pumpkins, very, very simple. So that's what we have here. I think this is so cute, but it could be even cuter by adding your own color to it. So from here, we're going to add Miss Mustard Seeds Milk Paint. So for this project, I was inspired by this plate, and so I pulled 3 different colors from Miss Mustard Seeds Milk Paint. I pulled Arabesque because it's my favorite. It's a beautiful blush pink. I also pulled Lucketts green, which you can see down here. It's a gorgeous green. And then I pulled Aqua Sky, and that's what you see here. It's a beautiful blue. And so with that, I thought that was a really fun way to honor this plate and to kind of do something a little non-traditional and fun. Okay, so for this project, I'm just going to do 1 tablespoon of milk paint to 1 tablespoon of water. It's the 1-to-1 ratio, and a little bit goes a long way. Most of my projects, a little bit goes a long way, which is great because then you can make so many projects with your milk paint. Okay, so we did 1 part water to 1 part milk paint, and now we're going to mix it. I've just got a little whisk that's dedicated. Okay, so you're just going to mix it until it's fully mixed. If you need to add a little bit more paint or a little bit more water, feel free to do so to get the consistency that you want. Sometimes my measurements aren't exact because that's kind of how I create. It's fun that way. If I'm not having fun, I don't see what the point is, and so that's my main goal, is just to have a great time. And I always have so much fun whenever I'm painting with Miss Mustard Seeds Milk Paint. Okay, so it is mixed, and now I want to show you how simple it is to actually apply the paint. It is so easy. We're just going to get some paint on a craft paintbrush, and you're just going to paint on top of the fabric. And you paint everywhere. I even paint into the grooves because that's part of it. When you look at the pumpkin, it's got variation, and I think that's really fun, and that's what's so fun about this project. And so you can see it goes on so easily. And for this project, I only use 1 coat of paint. That's all that you need. And you're going to cover the entire pumpkin with this. So even the bottom and the sides, and even just kind of dab in there with your paintbrush, because you want to get all those fun little grooves and divots of your pumpkin. Okay, so you're going to paint the entire pumpkin, you're going to let it dry, and then you're going to finish off the pumpkin by adding a really charming stem. So for this stem, you could go many different routes, but for this stem, I wanted to keep it simple. So I went to my backyard and I foraged some limbs, and I just got a little stem out of a little branch. And so for this, you can just hot glue it directly onto your pumpkin. Very simple. And you're going to hot glue it to the very top part of your pumpkin, and then call it a day. So you can see how cute that is. You can make the stem a little bit shorter, a little bit taller, and making sure once it's dry that you're ready to go. So I created a pumpkin already in Arabesque, and then I also created one in Aqua Sky, and then we just did one in Lucketts green. And so I think these are so charming, these are so cute. And what you could even do is you could add a cute little piece of cardstock, and you could put the name on there for a table setting. And then you just set it down on top of the plate or next to the plate. And then they can even take these home if they want for your Thanksgiving table. So it is so cute, so charming, and so incredibly simple. I hope you feel inspired to make a whole bunch of these pumpkins this year for Thanksgiving and to use Miss Mustard Seeds Milk Paint because I love crafting with it. It's not just for furniture, and it's so much fun. So thank you so much for watching today. I hope you feel inspired to make some fun fall crafts for Thanksgiving. And until next time, I'm Elizabeth with Country Peony, and happy crafting.